Hello grapplers and welcome to a new video. There's only like 1 week and a little bit more like 1 or 2 days till the next season releases. Therefore, some of these characters will change, supposedly, I don't know. And this group I'm gonna talk about today is basically the group of the really low tiers. For some reason I played them all, I took them all to master, even beyond. Obviously this is based on my opinions while playing them or fighting against them. But first we have to answer two questions. Why are they bad? This question is a little bit hard to answer. I think most characters in this game, if they don't have good mobility, a fireball or a DP can be considered bad, but some characters go outside of that, like Sangi, for example, Bison, who are still good characters, but they lack certain things, but they still work somewhat within the way you have to play this game. These characters are notoriously outside of that. That makes them very hard to play in the highest level, and even sometimes at the mid level or entry level of this game. They're hard to balance. Usually they have really notorious gaps in how they have to be played, and that's a big issue in this game. Can they be fixed? With the exception of two, you can give them more plus frames, a little bit of a invincibility property maybe, and they will work. Those two characters are just... I don't know what they're gonna do with those two. Let's start with the character right here. These two characters, Manon and Lily. Lily is a very obnoxious character. She has this, which is the Condor Spire, which is +1 on block. This move is super obnoxious. +1 if you do the OD, +2. So you have some things going on, and everything kinda spins around her getting the windstock as fast as possible. You'll see that the actual command grab allows her to go full screen. She has a variant with an attack and another one with a slower attack, and you can hold this. And she has a lot of interesting things like a dive. She has everything you expect from T-Hawk. One of the most notorious buttons in the game, the most obnoxious, egregious buttons in the game. Down, heavy punch. This button is just insanely good. That's what she has going on. And against fireball characters, she has to be more careful about getting the windstock. She has nothing interesting going on. At least, again, in my opinion. Everything has a lingering hitbox. Those characters with good buttons will punish counter Lily. She has one thing she has to do over and over again, which is knockdown. Immediately go into this. And that's how she plays. It is so one note that if you stop her pattern, she won't be able to do any of those. She will be stuck trying to get the windstock. And without windstock, this character, I wouldn't say she sucks, but this can be DI'd. It's -4. Although I think you can space this. The OD one is also -4. So, and the dive is pretty bad. So she needs to go into windstock. And again, some characters are so fast that she cannot do this safe. And every time you knocked her down, well, even though she has a DP, in fact, this is the fastest DP in the game. She has windstock. It is 4 frames compared to 5 frames. Her super level 1 is frankly awful. It's a good combo ender and that's it. This super is very strange. If you have windstock, it is a little bit better. But it's one of those supers that you cannot use it as a whiff punisher. And super level 3 can be jumped after the flash. So it's another combo ender. And with lingering hitboxes and just one simple game plan, if you stop it, she will lose. Obviously, if we talk about Sangi's Lily, Sangi really struggles against this character, but everyone else, not so much. Manon, on the other hand, you might have heard items say that Manon poking is really good. I completely disagree. This character poking is so lackluster and bad. She has some interesting things going on like this. You can hit confirm this and go for the second part. Obviously you have to do it on hit and B+ right next to them. Anti-airs are pretty good. That I will have to give to Manon. Her anti-air game is superb compared to other characters in this game that really struggle. Super level 2, that is an anti-air, which is not common. Super anti-air supers in this game are not common. But her command grab game, awful. Most of the time with Manon, you're gonna get the hit grab, and that's useful for Manon because she needs the medal level for super level 3, for her super level 3 to actually do significant damage. But still, even with that, I feel like Manon really lacks damage. Because sure, if she does something like this and you didn't expect it, you can get command grab, that's gonna happen. Getting command grab in this game is not that uncommon. We know that we play Zangief. The command grab is there, but it's very hard for her to get it. She has to really go out of her way to grab you with the actual command grab. In a game where characters have standing heavy kicks, standing heavy punches, crouching medium kicks, her having this standing medium kick, this crouching medium kick, this standing medium punch, you don't have the buttons to survive. So in the poking war, especially when she's on defense, she's a very unsafe character too. You're likely gonna press something in response to something that the opponent wants to do, but this is not the way to really break your opponent. It's not a character with a good options to break the defense of opponents. Her drive rush is notorious for being one of the worst, if not the worst drive rush in the game, so she doesn't have anything to get in. That's why Manon players are likely playing like this. Have you seen that? They're back walking, because what else can you do? You're not gonna dash. She has potential compared to Lily. Lily was one of those characters that I feel cannot be fixed. At least with 1 or 2 changes, she needs to be completely reworked. Manon has the opportunity to be a better character. They need to fix, probably they need to give her something with the medals. That's something I've said several times. Maybe give her a little bit more plus frames from the standing light punch. Things that already been said in other places. Marisa for me is similar to Lily in the fact that she has only one game plan. And her game plan is get as much damage as possible. I think she has some good buttons, like standing heavy kick. I think this is a pretty decent button. But apart from that, I think her poking is very, very underwhelming. She has, again, some nice buttons. Standing medium kick, crouching medium kick. I think she has some buttons. But these are not cancelable. They're just pokes. And the buttons you want to use as a cancelable attack are just punches, basically, and her range is not necessarily the best. It's very hard for her also to get some really decent drive rushes, because even though her drive rush is decent, it's very hard to get something going on for her drive rush. If you cancel something like this, she's not safe. So characters with DP can just OS the DP. She doesn't necessarily have the best pressure, in my opinion, on block. If you get used to fighting Marisa, you will see this attack and the jump. You will anti-air her very consistently. And talking about anti-airs, she has to jump back most of the time with medium punch. Her damage is fantastic. She can easily be threatened by top tiers and good buttons. And basically, if you have a good low, it's gonna be an issue. I do feel super level 3 can be used against a fireball sometimes, because she moves forwards. Other 2 supers, you almost never see this one, because it has a weird property where it has armor to attacks. Good, I guess, but she can be thrown if she has a super level 1. She's very weak to being thrown over and over again. She doesn't have good reversals, of course. If she has super level 2, she can go for this. She wants to end the round as fast as possible, in my opinion. The longer the fight goes, the harder it is for Marisa to actually close the round. She can easily be counterpicked by characters I didn't expect. This guy is the other character I mentioned. He needs a lot of stuff in order to be fixed. His game plan, the same thing as Lily, to be honest. He can only do one thing. He doesn't have good mix-ups. The Oki of his command grab is pretty bad. Standing medium punch is one of those buttons that people will tell you that is fantastic, but you'll see that every time a Honda player tries to abuse this, they will get punished counter hit. He doesn't have good lows. I don't know what this button is. The standing heavy kick is decent only up close. And sumo headbutt is probably the only thing you're gonna see often. And to be honest, it is good as an anti-air. But if you know how to parry this, in fact, if you know how to parry sumo headbutt or response fast to sumo headbutt, and you also know how to respond to sumo smash, Honda game plan immediately is destroyed. And the only thing he can do is this. Try to bait you into doing something so he can respond with sumo headbutt. His drive rush is pretty bad. If you outpoke Honda, he doesn't have much to do, and he has to go feral, back to the basic instincts. He does have some very good anti-airs with the standing heavy punch. Also, heavy sumo headbutt or medium sumo headbutt are pretty decent as anti-airs. Super level 1 is a little bit slept on. This super is 7 frames. Super fast for super level 1. You can whiff punish with this. Super level 2 is probably one of his only ways of dealing with the proper fireball war, because this has armor, not invincibility to fireballs. There you go, with kick. You often whiff that super against fireballs. He has good damage though. In fact, I'd say he has as much damage as he can deal as much damage as Marisa. I don't know how they can fix this character, but he has a lot of holes. Holes in frames. He's probably the character I played the most besides the last one I want to talk. He's in a very strange position. And finally, my last character. The last character I played before going back to Zangief. I think Jaime is pretty fun. He has some really interesting buttons, like standing medium kick. I think this button is pretty goated. I don't think the toolkit makes sense for how Jaime has to be played. For example, you have a really decent dive kick. A dive kick you're probably gonna use like this. You're close, you jump forwards, boom. It's an anti-air dive kick too, which is very special. But he doesn't have the buttons to set up that situation that well. It's mostly gonna get the situation by a little bit of a randomness. In fact, that's the thing with Jaime. He feels like he has to be played random sometimes. You cannot play this game fully poke heavy, moving away, going like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just whiff punish with my fantastic standing medium kick. That's not how Jaime has to be played. If you try to play just a neutral, you're never gonna have enough time to drink. And you need to get a random grab in order to get to drink level 1. And then you can start playing the game. His DP sucks. Anti-airs are very strange, really. Crouching heavy punch can be decent sometimes, but I feel like most of the time the Jaime players just want to go for their jumping heavy kick. Or if you have the die kick, I guess, at drink level 1, you want to jump with medium punch and cancel the medium punch into the die kick. This button sounds fantastic when you play Jaime, like, oh my god, you move forwards 5 frames, 3 hits. But the more you use it, the more you realize this button is only for certain chimmies, and that's it. If you hit only with the last hit, you cannot DI, you cannot do anything. It's just a poke, and it recovers in 20 frames. That means a player that knows the matchup can DI this, or they can just take the advantage of the -3 and put Jaime in a world of hurt. His crouching medium kick is very strange in the sense that the range can be a little bit iffy. So you're not gonna get this button that often. Standing medium punch spaces you a ton on block, which means sometimes you don't even have a proper frame trap after this. Maybe the only frame trap you decently have at all ranges is a standing heavy punch. And that is your frame trap, and you're gonna be -3. If you don't know if you do DP, light DP, or breakdance in the corner, you can either double dash to have Oki or forward dash heavy punch for a safe jump. The command grab is not necessarily as strong as I thought when I started playing Jaime. It is good to have because you break the opponent and you can go into a combo, but the combos are really low damaging unless you go for the OD command grab or you have super level 3 and Drake level 4. It has good range, but you don't have necessarily the frames to get into the command grab. Probably the only way to catch 4-framers on block into the command grab is by using crouching medium punch like this. This catches 4 frames. His damage is super low unless you get to drink level 3, which is a big issue, and basically neutral jump. Neutral jump is very strong against this character. His supers don't anti-air, so neutral jumping against this guy is very useful because he can go for the palm, and then the Jaime player has to do something extremely risky like drive rush, check with something, and then if he sees the jump, he has to go into the light Shoryuken. It's a character with so many little things not working that at the end of the day, the whole package just doesn't work in general. He doesn't have invincibility to fireballs unless you have the breakdance, and the breakdance is super slow. Imagine using this to go over a Sonic Boom. Nope. Who is the worst character? In my opinion, Marisa. I think she's just way too weak in this game. And who's the best? Probably Jaime. I think Jaime's the best when you play against someone who doesn't know the matchup or you get to drink level 3 or 4 fast. He has so many bad matchups in this game. If you have a fireball, you're good against Jaime. But he's the one with the most potential and the one I'm more scared of for the future Street Fighter 6. On paper, he has everything he might require for being top tier or even mid-high tier. If they buff this character incorrectly, he's likely gonna be the best character in the game. And Jaime players are just waiting in the shadows for their moment. That's all I have for today. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for being here. If you really like this video, please subscribe. And I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye bye.